to today's session. I'm Gemma Margerison, the Resilience and Recovery Coach, and I'm joined today by Suzanne Barbour. Hello.
Hi Gemma, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Good, I'm really good, thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. It's really great to have you on. Would you mind sort of starting off by telling us a bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, lovely, and thank you for having me on. It's a lovely opportunity, so thank you for asking. But yeah, my name's Suzanne Barbour, and like you, Gemma, I'm a life coach, and I specialise in taking care of people who have experienced or are experiencing life-changing illnesses or injuries, and are just struggling to move forward by themselves and just need that little bit extra support. And I came into that because of my own experiences with cervical cancer. I was diagnosed 4.5 years ago with cervical cancer, and albeit at the time, you know, when you go through the treatment, everybody's there for you. You know, I was very lucky to have a fantastic medical team. My friends and family were checking in with me all the time. I had loads and loads of support. But then when the treatment isn't happening anymore and you get to the end of it, there's almost like this vacuum of support, if you like. So all the medical team have gone away. You're not seeing them every day like you used to. Your friends and family, of course, have to go back to their own lives and going back to work and, you know, and their own families. So I found that I'd got a bit lost at the end of that and going through this kind of reevaluation process of, oh my gosh, that just happened, and what do I do now? And you know, you kind of look at life in a very different way when you've been through something like that. And unfortunately, the list for counselling and for support was so long, which is, of course, nobody's fault. It is what it is. So I decided to kind of put all of my 15-20 years worth of coaching and mentoring experience and channel it into helping people that have been through similar situations, so they don't kind of feel lost or alone when they're going through their recoveries. So that's kind of, you know, how I came to be a life coach. You know, I'm a veteran as well, so I love to work with veterans as well and help them through anything that they're going through as well, as an Air Force veteran myself.
Wow, fab. So would you mind just kind of expanding on that background a little bit for us in terms of being a veteran and all your years of coaching experience?
Yes, gosh, well, I think one way or another I've done a lot of jobs over the years, but all of them have involved training and mentoring in one form or another. But I was very lucky to have the opportunity to go out to America and spend 6 years out working in America. And I ended up working with two incredible organizations. One was called Southern Nevada Children First, and I was their program director, working with homeless, pregnant and parenting youth and young adults. And within that, we would help kids kind of get back into, we would house them, help them get back to school or finish a high school diploma, teach them parenting, of course, address any mental health issues, because it was a very holistic service, which was, you know, it was an amazing opportunity to get to work with them. So we dealt with the mental health and the physical health, and of course the well-being of the moms and the babies. As well, which was an interesting one, because there wasn't many charities. In fact, there wasn't any charities in Las Vegas at the time that would take on pregnant and parenting youth, because they were deemed too high risk. So the woman who started the charity, Monique Harris, was absolutely amazing in the way she started it and took over. But then I also went on to work with the American Red Cross as their Director of Service to the Armed Forces, and that was actually across the whole state of Nevada. Where we ran lots and lots of different programs to help military transition out of that was predominantly the Air Force in Nevada, but you know, transition out into civilian life, but also how to deal with things like detachments and that shift in family dynamic when, you know, a member of the household is away for a long time and then they come back, and all of that kind of thing. And I think when I went through my own experiences, I wanted to kind of channel all of that amazing work that I had the opportunity to do and do something like that over here. So that's kind of all of those experiences and my own divorce and you know, some other personal experiences of loss, I think helped me come to where I am today. which is, helping people through the life-changing illnesses and injuries.
Yeah, fab, thank you. Would you mind me sort of asking about how you coped mentally and emotionally as you were going through your kind of diagnosis and treatment around sort of your cancer experience?
It was quite hard at times, because it's almost, because you can't see it, it almost doesn't feel real sometimes. And I was lucky in the sense that I didn't have any real pain, or I won't go into too many of the physical symptoms I had because it's kind of gruesome, but it almost felt unreal. So I almost felt like when I was sitting in the chemotherapy room, I would go every Tuesday for a whole day in the chemo ward, and I almost felt a bit like a fraud. It didn't feel real for me. I just felt like I was going through this really weird experience, or this really weird experiment. But sometimes it was really hard, and I felt like I had to lift up my own family to support them, which sounds weird, I know, but you kind of protect your family from some of your feelings sometimes. But at the same time, particularly when I had to tell my dad, that was one of the hardest things I had to do, was to tell my dad. And the reason for that was because we lost my mum when I was a small child to cancer, and he also lost his mum, my grandmother, to cancer as well. So his experience was never one of survival. And I'm actually the first member in my family, touch wood, so far today, who has survived cancer and continues to do so. And I told him at the time, and I just kept on reminding myself of what I told my dad right through the whole thing, was, I'm not going anywhere. I am going to be the first person to beat this. And just keep telling myself that. And, when things got dark and difficult, I reminded myself of that conversation that I had with my dad, and saying, I can beat this. We're 40 odd years on from where mum was, technology wise and medicine wise and science wise, we can beat this. And you just have to keep repeating that, and just looking for the small things and the fun things to enjoy. We would make jokes about the fact that we wanted to get into the chemo ward early so that we could get the good seat by the window, and we would take a whole bag of crafting stuff. My mum would always come with me, my stepmom would always come with me, and we'd sit and we'd crochet, or we'd write stuff down, or we'd listen to books together. And so it was just finding the small things that made us smile, even when we didn't have the energy to do an awful lot. I think looking for the positivity makes a massive difference to your mindset when you're going through something like that. I always say that, looking for the joy. There's always some joy, however dark the situation.
Yeah. So is that the kind of, I guess, advice that you would give to other people who are in that position around staying positive? Are there other things that you'd offer up?
Yeah, I think staying positive is a big one, but sometimes that's not possible to do it by yourself. Because when you're going through something like that, times can get very dark. So, the first thing I always look at when I'm working with people is, have they got the right support network around them? And when I say the right people, it's got to be the people who can keep you lifted, who can encourage you, who can, be your cheering squad. But also you might just need someone sometimes just to sit and be sad with you and hold your hand and just say, this really sucks. And that's okay. You can't always expect it to be positive and upbeat and rose-tinted glasses. It is okay to feel sad and to feel angry and to feel frustrated, because we have to feel those feelings to be able to come out of the other side. So, connecting with the right people, thinking about who those people are. It might all be one person, it might be a number of different people that can fulfill those roles. Maybe thinking about who can go with you to medical appointments, because you might hear something and then zone out and focus on that one thing and miss everything else that the doctors or the nurses are telling you that they might be able to take note of for you. Maybe have an exercise buddy, somebody that can encourage you, or be a bit of a regimental sergeant major to get you out there and get you exercising when you don't feel like you want to. Somebody for that emotional support. And again, that could be one person, that could be 3 or 4 different people. And of course, looking for financial advice as well, because we all know that if we have to take a period of time off sick from work, making sure that we've got the correct financial support, whether that's from a professional again or a family member, so you've got that solid advice and that backup should you need it. So the support network is a big one. Of course, mindset and positivity where it is possible, absolutely, that plays a massive part into it as well. And of course, little tips like self-care, doing things that make you feel good, doing things that help you relax, and controlling the things that you can control. When you're in a situation like that, there's a lot of stuff that you can't control. So focusing on the things that you can be really, really powerful. So things like, what you're eating, the exercise that you're getting, maybe the information that you're taking in. One of the top tips I got from my sister, bless her, was don't Google your condition, because the horror stories are always the things that come first. You'll scare the bejesus out of yourself. And she was right. I Googled it afterwards, not during. But she's absolutely right. Every time you Google a condition, the worst case scenarios always pop up. So I would always say, take the advice of your medical team. If you're not happy with that, then get further advice from trusted sources and have a backup. But again, just control the things that you can control. And a lot of that is the things in your everyday life, like your diet, the activities that you can or you can't engage in, and getting some exercise and taking care of your own mental health, because that's really important.
Brilliant, thank you. So when people sort of get to that point of coming out of the other side, where they might sort of start to engage with a coach such as yourself, what kind of things might people be feeling or struggling with, and how does your coaching help with those?
I'm seeing more and more cases of anxiety, which has been quite interesting. It started off with people feeling quite stuck and not really knowing what was next, or how to figure out for themselves what was next. But particularly since COVID, that's been linked a lot with anxiety. So I've been doing a lot of work around that with people. And again, just small, simple steps. My coaching techniques are nothing new. It's very simple and it's very doable. And it's just about breaking things down into very simple, easy steps so that it feels achievable. No matter how difficult the situation, we break it down into baby steps. Think, right, what are you most struggling with today? Let's look at that and let's see how you can overcome that, or maybe think in a different direction and just look at things a little bit more differently to help you move forward. And we do that really by, the old coaching technique. We look at what's important to them in their core values first of all, and then build on it really from there as to how we approach each client, because each client is so very, very different and have very different needs. So of course we have to have, as coaches, we have to have a lot of tools in our tool belt to be able to pass those on to our clients depending on what their needs are.
Yeah, brilliant, thank you. So how can people find out more, get in touch, or even sort of think about working with you?
Oh, this is a good shameless plug moment, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So you can find me on Facebook. I'm all over social media. So I'm on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn. Sorry, Facebook, Instagram, not Twitter, and LinkedIn at Suzanne Barbour Coaching. My website is barbourcoaching.life. And of course, people can always email me as well, which is Suzanne@barbourcoaching.life. And that's Barbour spelled like the jacket. So BARBOUR.
Brilliant, thank you so much. It's been really great to have you on, and I think this is a really important sort of topic to be talking about, so thank you so much for that.
Thank you very much for your time and the invitation.
You're welcome. Please please subscribe. If you want to leave a comment or a question, please do get in touch with us, and we'll see you again next time. Thank you.